I'm going to show you how to make this really easy dinner. So this is chicken cooked in harissa in the oven, dead easy. And then we're going to roast some gnocchi in the same pan. And then just a really easy slaw and a bit of avocado. You can make loads of the chicken, so you can have it in the fridge ready to put into sandwiches, into salads. The gnocchi is like little gorgeous spicy roast potatoes, and the slaw is dead easy to knock together. So let me show you how to make it. First thing, you want to put your oven on, and I'm doing it 190 fans, so really hot. So if it's not a fan oven, that's going to be 210. And then you want to get a pan nice and hot, and it wants to be a pan that can go in the oven. So this frying pan has got a metal handle. That means it can go in the oven. If you don't have a pan that can go in the oven, you can fry it in a frying pan and then put it into an oven dish. But I think we'd all like to save a bit of washing up, wouldn't we? So first thing, get your pan hot. So when your pan's nice and hot, we're going to put some oil in, and then we're going to put our chicken in. A bit of oil, just olive oil, or you could use rapeseed oil. And then I've got some skinless, boneless chicken thighs. I have sprinkled these with a little bit of salt first, which will help them taste good. Can you hear that sizzle? That sizzle is good because it means the pan's hot enough. If it's not hot enough, your chicken will cook, but it'll just go grey and it won't brown. So we're just starting it off in the frying pan, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. So chicken goes in nice and flat. You don't want to overcrowd the pan, and you do not want to fiddle, because if you fiddle, it's never going to go brown. Let's get that in. So chicken's in like that. We grab some salt. Put the salt on. Now I'm just going to leave that to cook for probably about 3 or 4 minutes. Hear that sizzle? That's what you want. If it's sizzling more than that or getting really smoky, then turn the temperature down. If it's not sizzling enough, then turn the temperature up. And I'll come back and show you what it looks like in a minute. It's getting a bit noisy. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat down so you can hear me. I've left that for a few minutes. Can you see that nice golden colour? If I'd have been fiddling with this and moving it around in the pan, it wouldn't get that lovely colour, and that colour is flavour, so that's what we want to get. So I'm going to turn those over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some harissa on top, and this is harissa paste, which I use all the time. I think it's really useful to have. It's packed full of flavour and it does loads of work for you. And then all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of this, about a teaspoon, on top of each of the thighs, and then spread them around a bit once I've got it all out. What you don't want to do is use the spoon that's been touching the chicken and put it back in the jar. So it looks like that, and then I'm literally just using the back of the spoon just to kind of squash it on top. So dead easy. This is going to go in the oven, and it's going to cook for about 20 minutes on a nice high heat. And what will happen is that harissa is going to kind of melt into the chicken. The chicken's going to go really nice and crispy. Now I want to show you the way that I get really nice fine shredded cabbage. What I always say is, if you want to eat raw vegetables, you either have to choose between your mouth doing the work or a knife or another tool doing the work. So the smaller you chop something, the easier it is to chew. And if you don't chop something small, then you're going to spend a lot of time chewing, which is quite good for your jawline, but a bit annoying. So I am not a huge gadget fan. However, I've kind of fallen in love with this, which is the Joseph & Joseph shredder. It's kind of a mandolin, but mandolins are notorious death traps, and people chop their fingers all the time on them. However, this one is really good, and it has got a little mouth guard, a finger guard, which can protect your fingers. However, I never use it. So what you can do is you can just adjust it, and then let me show you how fine it gets everything. So you just literally put your fingers up and down. I know I'm not going to get close to the blade, so I'm not using the guard, but if you wanted to, you could hold the cabbage with a tea towel to protect yourself as well. And just look at how easy, a bit noisy, it makes this lovely fine shredded cabbage. So they're not expensive. You can buy one on my shop. It's also good for doing really thin slices of potato or carrot or apple, things like that. So one of the few gadgets that I will actually recommend. Now, I'm not going to show you how to make this slaw because it's really easy and I want to make this video not too long. But in here, I have got some grated carrot that I've just grated on the side of a box grater, some red cabbage, which I've shredded, and some rocket. But basically when you're making a slaw, you want to probably have like 3 combinations. I always put carrot in because it's nice and sweet, and then some kind of cabbage, so either a green cabbage or a red cabbage or some kale, and then something green. So if you've used a red cabbage, something green like rocket or watercress or another type of green vegetable. And then I've just grated it, I've put some vinegar and some yogurt in. All the details are going to be in the recipe, but that's all tossed together and it's going to give a really nice bit of brightness and crunch. The coolness is going to contrast really well with the heat of the chicken, and also the harissa isn't spicy, but because this has got yogurt in, it kind of balances out that heat a little bit. So that's it, dead easy. So my chicken's ready. I'm going to grab it out of the oven, and then I'm going to go and put in some gnocchi in the pan once I've taken the chicken out, and then this gnocchi is going to cook in all those lovely harissa oils and get nice and crispy, and they are just the most delicious, Moorish, easy way of doing kind of roast potatoes midweek. So first thing, when you are using a pan that is a normal pan in the oven, you are probably going to forget that this handle is roasting hot. So when you get it out the oven, always wrap it in a tea towel, because when you're just busy and absent-minded, you will just go to grab it, and I have done that before. Next thing is, you want to get a clean pair of tongs, so not the tongs that you use to move the raw chicken around, get a different pair of tongs. We're going to take this chicken out of the pan, but first we'll just look, it's all lovely and crispy, it's released loads of juices. Let me move that to one side, and then we're going to put our gnocchi into this pan. And it's actually really nice for the chicken to rest a little bit as well, because then it'll be nice and juicy and easier to eat. So gnocchi is going to go in. I haven't got any scissors. Let me grab a knife. And obviously you could do this without harissa, you could just do this in oil. You could do it in a roasting tin if you haven't got a frying pan to hand. Give it a bit of a shake around, and then that's going to go in the oven until they get really nice and crispy, which is about 15-20 minutes at this temperature. Okay, so our gnocchi is nice and crispy. It's kind of gone golden, it's crispy, but it's still nice and soft in the middle, and it's taken on that lovely flavour of the harissa. Oops. So let me show you how I'm going to assemble it all. Like I said, tea towel on there. So I always think it's nice to do this in a bowl. Let me move that to one side. So you can see, right, so I've got a nice bowl, and then I'm going to put some of my slaw in here. In fact, let me just move you around this way a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to put some slaw in here. These are my little salad hands, which are really handy. Pardon the pun. So slaw goes in, and obviously you could serve this all on the table and everyone can help themselves, which actually is quite handy if you've got people in the house who are a bit fussy, who don't like certain things. Letting them choose the bits they want often allows them to try things they wouldn't have if you kind of forced it on them by plating it all up. So slaw goes in. Then I'm going to put in some of the gnocchi. Like that. And then I'm going to put my chicken in. So this is rested nicely, and it's kind of got nice and juicy, and it's all the juices have gone back inside. So my chicken's gone in. And then I'm going to do a bit of avocado. And all I'm going to do is, I've already sliced it in half. I'm going to get the stone out. Be careful if you're not used to doing this, hold the avocado in your hand so you don't accidentally slice your finger. And then I'm just going to run my knife through to get some nice little slices. I'm going to grab a spoon. Have that to hand, and then I'm just going to scoop my slices out. And I'm just going to push them off with my finger, and then you can kind of move them a little bit so they look pretty in your bowl. And then this really needs some acidity, so a little bit of lemon or a little bit of vinegar squeezed over the top just before you serve makes all the difference. So like I say, if you want the recipe for this, you can get it in my newsletter. I'll have it all written down, substitutions, all that kind of stuff, and I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. Tag me if you make it, or send me an email or a DM when you make it with a photo, because it always makes my day.